start at any time.
Yeah, I think we're literally bang on the hour, so why not make a start, eh? Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Great to be here today. So as Tricia says, we're going to be looking at the Wave 2 release in a bit more detail. So first of all, though, we do want to just give a big thanks to the sponsors for today. They're what makes this event possible, and also for some of the prizes later on. So please do check out their website. Resco does some really great mobile and field service solutions. MSCRM add-ons has got a range of different solutions for document management and document generation, telephone integration, things like that. And then RSM is, if you need a really good partner to help deliver your business application solutions, they're definitely somebody to turn to. So again, big thanks to them for supporting us today. So a little bit about me on the slide here. So yeah, my name's Joe. I'm based in the UK. I'm director and principal consultant of a small Microsoft Gold partner, Solar Cloud Solutions. I'm more on the technical side of things when it comes to the Power Platform and Dynamics. So focusing on integrations with Azure, C# development, things like that. Although I do dabble around a bit. Maybe it's because I'm bored or something like that. I'm not too sure. I blog fairly regularly as well, so keep an eye out for that if you're interested in just seeing what I'm getting up to, really, from a technical standpoint. Quite a big foodie, love my desserts, love my cheesecakes. Always good to talk about anything dessert related. And as you can see, I like to hold Microsoft badges. I don't know what it is. It must be some sort of obsession or some sort of impulsive thing. But yeah, literally addicted to getting badges. It's strange, really strange. I'm also on the social media as well. So yeah, it'd be great to connect with you after this if you want to. So make sure you are getting social, get that hashtag up into the orbit, get it shared out. It's going to help to, hopefully get other people involved as part of the event, and also will have a bearing on some of the exciting prizes that you could potentially win, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on. Okay, so our agenda for today then. So first of all, just going to give you a bit of an overview in terms of, okay, what is Power BI? Maybe you've never seen it before, maybe just wondering what it is and how you can use it. So I'll just give you a quick run through of that. We'll sort of look at, okay, well, what is, from Microsoft's point of view, when it comes to the new Wave 2 release, what are the things that they're trying to address as part of this, at really high strategic level? We're then going to jump in and look at a bit more detail. There's quite a lot that has been released, so effectively I've been through it, done the hard work for you, been through it. I've selected what I think are perhaps some of the more compelling things to maybe consider. So we'll go through each of those in sort of detail. There'll be a very small demo towards the end of it. Unfortunately, some of this stuff isn't actually out and available just yet, so I'm not able to show it to you in detail, but there will be a couple of things that I can show you in the Power BI online portal, which may be of interest. And then finally, just some final thoughts to me. And then, yeah, if we've got time for questions. If you have got questions whilst we're talking along, pop it in the chat, put your hand up, and we'll see if we can get to it if we do get to a natural pause at all. But if not, we'll cover some questions at the end. Okay, so Power BI. So what is Power BI? So really, it's a business intelligence tool. It's designed for when you're wanting to get more insights out of your data. So whether you are, let's say, an Excel Power user, whether you're a more traditional report developer, perhaps maybe used to building SQL Server reporting services reports, perhaps, what Power BI will allow you to do is start to create these really engaging and interactive reports and dashboards. And with the main benefit of that being is, Power BI doesn't really care in terms of what data sources that you can use. You can really use it as a great tool to munch together your data, in a really effective way. And because it integrates within the existing cloud estate, via Microsoft 365 and the Power Platform, those integrations become very easy to look at and consider. So whether you want to, for example, have all of your Power BI content within a Microsoft 365 group, whether you want to maybe use Power Apps within your Power BI reports, you've got that capability there to support you. And in terms of from an availability standpoint, you've got various different pricing options. So you can get started for free. There's no barriers there to help you sort of get to grips with Power BI. There's paid editions, cloud-based editions that give you dedicated capacity that you can use for your own purpose. And then finally, there's also an on-premise version as well. So if you do need to, you want this really great, fantastic tool, but you need to run it in your local data center, you can do so, thanks to what we have been given with Power BI. So for wave 2, then, like with everything else in the Power Platform, there's a whole wave of new features coming out, and it's useful just to sort of consider, okay, well, what's the direction, what's the thinking behind, and the main things that have been trying to be sort of addressed by Microsoft as part of this wave. So I think first of all, the key thing from their point of view is all about giving this really amazing data experience. So whether it's making it as easy as possible for you to pick up Power BI Desktop for the first time and start building out your first report, whether it's giving you a really nice interactive and intuitive interface through which you can use Power BI, this is trying to be addressed as part of this Wave 2 release. Alongside that, it's all about making sure that you've got everything ticked off from an accessibility standpoint. So regardless of which device type that you are looking to interact with your reports from, whether it's online, whether it's desktop or on the mobile, you can hopefully meet those requirements with Power BI. So the key outcome for that, in terms of what the value is from the business standpoint, is that you can start to more easily foster that data culture where people are sort of, finding out insights about their data that were previously impossible. Everyone is really focused on having that as a cultural aspect of how you go about and do things. The second thing really is just making sure that from a SaaS, a software as a solution standpoint, as a cloud product, making sure that it's fit for purpose from an enterprise standpoint. Because typically what you find, these new products that are coming to line, they're fantastic, they unlock some great capabilities, but perhaps sometimes maybe the governance controls, some of the reporting aspects from that standpoint, in terms of making sure that you're meeting your legal or your or sort of compliance around things like standards like ICO and things like that, they can sometimes be a bit lacking. So what Microsoft is trying to do as part of this Wave 2 release is making sure that Power BI is ultimately a really scalable tool in terms of your global reach, in terms of meeting your needs as your organization. So whether you're just one user or you're 10,000 users, Power BI is going to be a good tool for you to use, and giving you some additional tools around that to help satisfy your compliance and governance needs. Because although Power BI's main benefit is that you can get some really great data out of it from your business, that could be an issue. So for example, if a salesperson, let's say, can just download a list of all the leads and opportunities, and then just take that over to a competitor, that's going to cause a big issue for most organizations. So what Microsoft is trying to do as part of this release is to introduce some really great compliance and governance tools, and just making it easy for you to implement them and to integrate them alongside it. So really where we get to is that Power BI becomes more and more the one business intelligence platform to rule them all. You don't really need to consider looking at other tools, whether it's existing things like SSRS or competitor products such as ClickView or something like that. You can sort of disregard that and really focus on having just your one business intelligence solution. And then finally, it's all about insights, getting more insights out of your data, so that as an organization you can make those really effective decisions at a day-to-day basis in terms of where you're going, ensuring that you can drive better trust and collaboration with your BI solutions, whether you want to make sure that you're incorporating in data from across the board, so whether it's your common data service, your on-premise data sources, or even competitor products like Salesforce, making sure that you've got that support there. So ultimately you get to the point where the authority of the information BI is really sort of unparalleled. You can trust it, that the data is going to be good, it's going to be actionable, you can drive some good insights from that, and really, as a consequence, your organization can make better decisions as a business. I'm getting to turn my camera off. Hopefully that will help. If anybody's having any issues lagging us off that, let me know. If not, in the chat, we'll see what we can do about it. Okay, so we talked about the in terms of where that manifests itself. What we're going to see both now and over the course of the next couple of months is investments within these key products here. So Power BI Desktop, the application that report developers use to build out your reports and then deploy them out to the online service. Power BI Embedded, so for where you need to, where you've got a requirement where you want to incorporate Power BI visuals within your own bespoke application system. and then control that capacity out in Azure. Power BI embedded is the option for you to consider there. Power BI mobile, so whether that's your smartphone or your tablet application, being able to consume reports through there. And then finally, the Power BI service, which is where, for the most part, we're using the online portal to view and manage our Power BI state, as it were. So with a lot of this stuff, what will tend to happen is it will come out into public preview first. And some of the stuff that we are talking about, as I said earlier, is not actually out there yet. Typically, the release cadence for Power BI desktop is typically once a month. There'll be a big update, and it's usually towards the back end of the month that we see that. So just keep your eyes posted, check the latest updates from the Power BI team, and hopefully a lot of the stuff that we're going to see today will manifest themselves as part of October's update to the Power BI application. Although, as we see, some of this capability has already been released and we can start to play about with it in the Power BI service. Okay, so let's take a look now then in terms of, okay, what's new in Power BI Desktop? What are some good things that we can start to maybe take advantage of? So first of all, we've got this new feature where we can effectively use a sort of lasso control. So as part of our various charts and visuals, we can select multiple data points as part of a single action. Those can then be sort of grouped together via this sort of lasso functionality, and then we can then incorporate this as part of our filtering as well, potentially. So again, driving it and making the sort of the visuals on the report a bit more useful. So at the moment, this is targeted to be out in public preview in this month. Not something which will fit within the desktop application. So hopefully we'll see this feature enabled and come as part of the release in the next few weeks. Next, and something that we can see in the demo, which we'll show later on, is this concept of the sort of on-canvas watermark. So if you're used to building Power BI reports, typically as you navigate around, so you open a report for the first time, you just get a blank white screen with absolutely nothing there whatsoever. So, potentially if you're somebody new coming into the product for the first time, it makes it really difficult for you to figure out, okay, well, how can I actually get started? What do I need to do to start building out our report? So what the Power BI product team have done is they've added this concept of these watermarks. So as you start to go around the Power BI and do various things, set up things, or open a new report or a new dashboard, you'll get a handy little watermark image like this that will appear that will give you a bit of a hint in terms of what you need to do to get started. So again, trying to make sure that you've got a really accessible reporting tool there, and to help people just get started, because with any of these technological solutions, sometimes it can be really difficult to sort of have that sort of light bulb flash of inspiration. Okay, how can I actually do something useful for this? So this is out at the moment in the Power BI service. We'll see it shortly, and I fully expect that we'll see this as part of the next Power BI desktop, if not as a feature that appears straight away, something that we can enable as part of our preview features. Next, so at the moment in Power BI, when we're working with DirectQuery, we do have the option for having parameter values. So when we're building out our DirectQuery queries, we can tailor those when we bring them out into our report designer, so that we can effectively, as part of that, reuse our different data sources and then just apply an optional filter each time they're sort of called. So that's all really great, but that's only limited to when we're building out the report. There's no capability at the moment for users to be able to provide their own parameter values when they're working with data sets that we deploy out. This is going to be changed. We're going to be given the option here where we can actually give users the ability to apply filter slicer selections to a report based off a parameter value. So again, just making it more easier for users to interrogate the data that's available on there. And hopefully as part of that as well, unlock additional insights, which is really good. Next, and this one sort of in a way completes the sort of the Power Platform puzzle when it comes to Power BI. So if you may be familiar at the moment where you can build a Canvas Power App, and you can very easily incorporate this as part of your Power BI report. So you can, as part of that, you can do some really cool things. So as you're sort of updating a record in a Power App, press the button, wow, your data on the dashboard updates straight away. Isn't that cool? So that's really great, but we've not had the ability previously to use Power Automate flows along this. So this is going to be addressed by having a brand new visual type that's going to let us, at a press of a button, execute any potential type of flow that we want from within a Power BI report. So effectively, what this will mean is that we can get our entire Power Platform solution pretty much into a Power BI dashboard and really hopefully unlock some additional capabilities as part of our sort of reports. So I'm really looking forward to sort of getting to grips with this one when it's out. At the moment, Microsoft is saying that this will be out in public preview in December this year. So perhaps anticipate maybe seeing it land in that month as part of a Power BI desktop update. Okay, next you've got so filters. So when a user is working with a report, they can add on a filter to be able to change how the data is sort of modified around on the report. We're now going to get the option soon so that users can actually apply multiple different filters at once from within the filter pane. So therefore, it's going to, again, hit that keynote in terms of being able to make sure that a report is ultimately accessible and that people can derive as much insight from them as it can. So that this will be a really good one when it lands, hopefully later on this month, as indicated there. So that wraps it up for Power BI Desktop then. So let's take a look at what's coming with the service in the months ahead. So this one's quite an interesting one. It's not one which I've been able to play around with, and it's going to be limited in the sense that, okay, you're going to need a Microsoft 365 E5 plan to be able to sort of play about with it. But what we're going to be able to do soon is we're going to be able to bring in Power BI data effectively as an Excel data type within our Excel files, within our Excel Online documents as we're building out. So you can see in this example screenshot on here, we've got our normal Excel data on there, so emails and stuff like that. But then we've got a special column on there, which effectively is a self-contained Power BI dataset row, which has been brought into Excel and can be included as a sort of, effectively it's like a lookup record almost. If you're familiar with a common data service, it's like a lookup record, to something else. And we can see in this case that we can hover over, we can get some more detail in terms of, okay, well, who Julio is, where he is in the world, all that sort of stuff. So this one's going to be an interesting one to sort of play about with in a bit more detail. I believe it's in public preview soon, or perhaps now, perhaps. But again, you're going to need to make sure that you've got that E5 plan as part of that. E5, for those who are unaware, it sort of is the top tier Microsoft 365 plan. It also includes Power BI as well as standard. So that was a pretty interesting one, I think. And then sort of continuing the theme around, incorporating Power BI alongside Excel. So again, Microsoft 365 desktop users are soon going to have the ability to be able to link up to either certified or promoted data sets within Power BI Online. So we'll touch upon that a little bit later on, but effectively the certified or promoted data sets are ones which within the organization you're able to sort of say, okay, well, you can promote them effectively or make them or give them a little certification, and that sort of tells everyone in the organization, okay, this isn't just a really crappy data set which somebody put together in 30 minutes one afternoon. This is something that's been maybe highly curated, maybe it's been validated, you brought in external data sources to do address validation or things like that. They're basically top tier data sets that you just want to give the sort of the gold star thumbs up on, saying yeah, this is a really beautiful data set that we got here. So we're going to have the option soon of being able to bring that into Excel. People still love their Excel. I think it's a sad fact of life. But so perhaps maybe this is a nice little middle ground where hopefully we can get the best of both worlds by having this feature on here. So if you've been doing any playing about with Power BI recently, you may have seen this already, but we've got a new look experience coming. So as part of a sort of general drive across the entire Microsoft 365 software as a service products, we're seeing everything gradually transition across to what we're calling this fluent design framework. And the sort of the benefit of this is that it gives us this very consistent user interface across all the applications that we're using. So when we look at the moment, for example, model-driven apps in Dynamics 365, they're using the Fluent Design Framework, and pretty soon Power BI across the board for everyone will be using the same. So at the moment, it's effectively an opt-in. If you want to use it and start experimenting with it, you can do. But later on this month, Microsoft are going to start to be forcing people to move across to this. You'll be able to defer for a small period. I think it's up to 30 days, they're saying, just to give you that additional time to get your documentation, your training documents updated. But sooner or later, you're going to have to move across this new experience. And it does provide a much more nicer way of being able to move and interact with the data. You can see in this GIF on here how you're able to drag things about. It's all a lot more intuitive and hopefully feels a lot more familiar as well when you're using other Power Platform products too. Okay, there's going to be some additional capability released around some of which is out already, around being able to see data lineage and the impact around particular components in your Power BI solution. So as you're building out your reports and your dashboards, you typically are going to be bringing in lots of different data sets, reports. Maybe you have one or two different dashboards to be able to bring that all together. So over time that could get really large in terms of there's so many moving parts that you're having to track. And it becomes very, very difficult for you to figure out, okay, well, if I change this data set over here, how's it going to impact everything else further down the chain? So to help us with that, we're going to get this new capability here, and we're going to see this in the demo shortly, being able to see the lineage of your data, see how everything connects together. And most importantly, be able to do an impact analysis around that to ensure that before you make a change, you've assessed, okay, how's it going to filter on further down the line. What you'll also be able to do as well, and this isn't quite released just yet, is that you're also going to be able to easily communicate with people. So if you do need to change a particular data set, you'll be able to sort of click a button, send out an email to people within the organization who own that data source and just say, oh, hey, I'm thinking of changing this. Can you just let me know if there's any problems with this or if we need to factor anything else in as part of that? So again, it's all about increasing governance to a certain extent, but also visibility and making sure that we've got that as part of our business intelligence solution. This will be a really good one when it's sort of out in the wild, I think. Okay, so a link to the governance aspect. And we mentioned this earlier in terms of, the great thing about Power BI is that, we can very easily get data out of the application, perhaps far too easily in some particular cases. So what we're going to see introduced are some enhanced data protection controls around our data. This is going to be leveraging the same tools that you may be used to if you're using information protection in Microsoft 365 or things like that. So for example, you'll be able to bring in your sensitivity labels for your documents. You'll be able to apply those to Excel, your PDF, your PowerPoint documents. And as you can see on the GIF on here, you'll then be able to provide informative labels to people as well, and also potentially control how that document is shared out. So again, going back to the scenario I mentioned earlier, you can prevent a situation from where a salesperson is potentially going off and stealing all your customers and things like that. So this addresses probably quite a long-standing ask, I would say, in terms of Power BI. And it's going to be available across the board, whether it's using desktop, online, or Power BI embedded as well, which is really good to see. Okay, a big one that was announced as part of Ignite last month is this concept of a Power BI Premium per user license. So previously I mentioned if you're consuming Power BI, you've got the option of being able to have dedicated capacity. This is done via a service called Power BI Premium. So it gives you a lot of really great features. So, dedicated capacity means that, you can control and scale up your reporting solution. It's got some really nice features, such as things like data, such as deployment pipelines. A big one for me, paginated reports, being able to lift and shift your old SSRS reports and use them in Power BI Online. Some really great features. The only problem with it is that it's really expensive. It's like £3,000 a month for the cheapest option. So for a lot of organizations, that price entry point to unlock such capabilities is far too high. So what Microsoft have announced is they're going to be bringing along a per user variant of the Power BI Premium. There's no details yet in terms of what that pricing is going to look like for that. What Microsoft have said though is that it's going to be very competitive potentially. So it should sit, hopefully it'll be more than the Power BI Pro offering, which is around, I think, £7.50 a month at the moment, but it certainly will be a lot cheaper compared to Power BI Premium. and it's going to give us pretty much all of the same capabilities that we would expect from the £3,000 a month option. So therefore, things like paginated reports instantly become available to us at a much lower price point. So this is going to be a bit of a game. If they get the pricing right, I think it's going to be a bit of a game changer, this one. I'm really excited about it on a personal level. There's going to be a public preview of this in November. I believe it's going to be a free public preview. If you follow the link on here, the short link on here, you can basically sign up and find out more about it and get signed up for when the public preview goes live. Okay, and just to finish off then, we're going to cover off some of the other things which have looked quite cool in the sort of release notes for Wave 2. So Microsoft are going to be bringing some additional capability to Power BI Embedded that's going to help around the development experience of a Power BI embedded solution. There's not really much detail at the moment in terms of what that sort of looks like, in terms of, specific features, and it is still a bit of a way off. It's going to be landing around sort of January 2021 as a public preview. What they have promised is that it's going to hopefully help us in terms of being able to more rapidly develop prototypes using Power BI Embedded, being able to more easily work with the various different APIs, giving us a much more interactive coding experience. So really, I guess, quality of life improvements. So if you have previously been frustrated when building out a Power BI embedded solution, hopefully as part of some of these changes, you'll get it. You have a better experience as part of that. Another one, and this one feels like it should have been previously because it sounds like a really great feature. But what we're going to see as part of the iPad version of the Power BI application, we're going to have the ability to be able to view our reports in a split view. So if you have got two reports that you need to compare the data points on, you can more easily sort of view those as part of your tablet device when using your iPad, and therefore be able to compare your reports better. So that's going to be out in public preview towards the back end of the year, I think. So again, it'll probably be a case of just checking the application when it's been updated and just making sure that you've got the preview feature enabled on that. Next, we're seeing some changes to what was previously called the on-premise gateway, but now, rather interestingly, it's been referred to as the Power Platform Gateway. So this is the tool that lets you work with your on-premise or your tightly locked down resources through tools such as Power BI, Power Apps, etc., as if they were sort of available, within the cloud. So you install a little app within your network that can then be used as effectively a secure tunnel to get at your data. So you don't have to do a complete lift and shift exercise into the cloud. So what Microsoft is saying and promising is that we're going to see some improvements to that. We're going to have, for example, the ability to manage our data sources entirely from within the portal. We're going to have some better diagnostics tools to help us out. And we're going to get things such as OAuth and Azure Active Directory authentication support as well as part of that. So the timeframes for this one is a little bit longer. They're saying at this point that we're going to start to see this around about March time next year. And again, not too much detail in terms of specific features, but hopefully we're going to see some continued investments in what is already a really great tool for working with the on-premise data within the Power Platform. Okay, a big one, and one which I was hoping to demo. I'll explain why I can't in a few moments, but one of the perhaps issues previously when you're trying to work with a common data service is that it's not as good as working with a good old SQL database. So for example, you can't use DirectQuery with it, you can't write your SQL queries. So for my sins, I do quite enjoy still to this day writing SQL queries. Fetch XML is fine, but it can be a little bit annoying sometimes. So we had this announcement earlier this year, and we had a preview open up where effectively we're getting a SQL endpoint with our common data service instances. So effectively we could connect up to the application using Power BI, using our SQL Server Management Studio, write our SQL queries, and be able to consume data in read-only form. And as well as alongside that, being able to use DirectQuery so that we could effectively get that real-time view of our data instead of just taking a snapshot of it every so often and then having to also factor in a really our own custom security model. What this will allow us to do is that it will always be connected as the user from Dynamics, and therefore it will enforce any security roles that have been assigned to that user. So as I say, this was in public preview. There was a rather not much detail, understandably perhaps, but I think there was a major issue detected, I'm guessing security related, for the public preview and for the endpoint. So Microsoft actually disabled and actually removed this from being able to use at the moment. So it's not something, unfortunately, that I can demo today. Hopefully we should see maybe the next month or so that the issue has been fixed and this will be back out again for us to start playing about with. Okay, before we jump into the demo then, I can see we've got a question here from Summit. Can you apply filter to display only selected records from CDS? Yeah, so you would either, as part of that Summit, you'd either sort of build out, let's say, a query yourself in Power BI to get just the data that you want from the common data service, or alternatively, you bring the data in, you'd import it in using Power BI Desktop, and then from within there, you would then apply your appropriate filters. So yeah, so there's a few ways in which you can do it, but yeah, effectively, yes, you can on that one. Okay, so let me just jump across to my web browser then. So I'm in my Power BI Online portal at the moment, and I'm in the old sort of interface. So it's a bit, it's sort of showing its age a little bit now. It's quite sort of dark. It's a little bit blocky. It's a bit horrible. So what we can do is we can sort of press this button up here, and as if by magic, we get a magical makeover, and suddenly we get a new interface again using this new fluent UI design, and we can see we've got a much more nicer environment to be able to sort of start playing about with and be able to consume our data. So within here, let's take a look first of all at the watermark capability. So I'm just going to go into my workspace that I've set up on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a brand new report on here just to show you this. So we'll use this data set on here for our report. So you see straight away, once we've created the report, we get an option here, a watermark on here that tells us, okay, what do we do next? So in which case, what we can do is I can expand out my data set that I've got on here, drag on a field, and then yeah, I can see straight away, bang, I get a visual on there. Remove it, and again, the watermark appears on there, and it gives me an easy way of being able to say, okay, well, what do I do next here? You've got the answer right there in front of you. So you'll start to see this in all the various different areas of Power BI as you sort of move out and as you start to, over the months ahead, again, helping you to just find your way around more than anything. Okay, next, we'll take a look at some of the data lineage and impact analysis tools. So if I go down to this data set down here, I think it's under view lineage. Click on this one here. We won't save that. So what we're seeing here is the feature I discussed earlier around the data lineage. So being able to see in terms of, okay, where's my data come from? What's it built out from? And being able to follow that all the way back. So in this case, what I've got here is just one of the sample reports that Microsoft have built out and make available. So in this case, this is using two data sources, a spreadsheet and a text CSV file. This is then munged together as part of this data source on here, and then is ultimately surfaced out as part of this report. And then what we can do at any of these particular stages, we can sort of click the arrows on here, see how it all sort of filters through. We get some useful stats such as views and how many, who's done what type thing. We can click on anything on there, view the more detailed settings up here, change some of the different components on here. So it provides you with a nice way of being able to sort of see over time how your Power BI solution has developed and be able to trace that back if you need to. And if you see on here actually is that you can actually, the capability to be able to notify contacts is there already. So what we can see on here is that we've got an option here for notify contacts. So what it will do is, so all the people who've got access to the workspace, you can just very quickly send them a message on here to be able to notify them, okay, well, I'm about to make a change or I'm about to do something on here. And then hopefully you can drive that conversation more easily. You're not in that awkward situation yet again where you've accidentally gone in and changed something and then somebody's come running and saying, why have I changed my data source again? And having that discussion or borderline argument over that. Again, driving, making sure that people are aware and you can take preventative action. So this is quite a nice view and quite some nice capabilities on here that we're seeing. We've also got now as well, I think this has been around for a while, but I'll show it you anyway. You've got the ability to be able to do this sort of endorsement of your various different data sets. So if I go down to this one down here, if I click on my settings, I should see down here on this tab, I've got the option of being able to provide 2 endorsement levels to my data set. So I can set it just as being a default one, so maybe it's not one that I don't want other people to use. I can set it to promoted. So maybe, you as an organization, you decide, okay, well, we want to make sure that we only promote a data set when somebody's gone in there and actually confirmed that it looks okay. Or finally as well, you can also give it a badge as well. So even Power BI is collecting badges, so you can give it a nice little badge to be able to sort of see that it's all okay. So if I was to click that on there now and click on apply, if I go back to my workspace up here, I should see under data sets, I've got a shiny badge on there to say it's sort of certified. Okay. So again, it's just providing that assurance, from the organization standpoint, that when people are working with data sources, that they've gone through that review process, the work has been done on it, and that ultimately nobody is consuming absolute rubbish for their reports when it comes to a data set standpoint. Okay, there's a few things at the moment which you have to specifically enable preview feature wise. So if there's something which you've heard Microsoft talk about, you heard me talk about today, and you're not seeing it on your Power BI tenant, then typically what you may have to do is go up to the top up here. You can see that you've got an option here, admin portal. You need to make sure you've been assigned the appropriate security role at Microsoft 365 to do some of this. But what you'll see down here is that you've got a whole list of different tenant settings here. And a lot of these will cover different sort of preview features that you can sort of enable. So for example, if I was to scroll down a little bit, I should see an option for information protection as a potential setting that we can enable. I think it's a little bit further up, I've missed it already. You can see down here that you've got the ability to be able to disable whether people can do certifications for their reports. Where's it gone? Feature content. No. So bear me 2 seconds. Here we go. Information protection. So we can see on here that in order to basically start applying our sensitivity labels to our Power BI content, we actually have to enable that as a feature down there. And it's just a simple case, just clicking on the box. You can enable it for specific users for the entire organization, doesn't really matter what, and then click on apply. Changes tend to be sort of enabled in the background, can take 15 minutes to set up. In this case, I haven't got information protection, the appropriate licenses set up on there, so therefore it's not going to work for me. So I'm just going to click close on that. Another thing, a feature that's been added as part of this, which I can show you as well, is the concept of being able to do featured content. So if I go back to my report down here, I'll just discard everything over there. I'm actually going to go to the workspace, sorry. So if I was to go on to content over here, I should see under my settings that I've got an option of being able to promote the report in the featured section on home. So if you have got maybe, a sales report that everyone needs to be sort of using fairly regularly, all you need to do is just sort of click this box on here, enable it like so, click on save. And then if we go up to the home tab up here, we should see underneath featured, there's our report on there. So again, you can very quickly provide users in the organization access to the most useful reports that you think are going to help them with their particular job. Okay, so as I say, I was hoping to show you the SQL endpoint today. It's not something that I can because of what we've discussed already, the security issue. But I will just quickly show you in terms of how you can enable it, hopefully for when it comes back and is available. So for this, I'm going to go across into the Power Platform Admin Center. I'm in my particular environment, my JJG environment up here. In order to enable it, all I need to do is go into edit over, I go to settings up here, sorry. Give it a second to load. We go to features down here. And then we can see there's an option down here, TDS endpoint preview, which you can sort of enable. The problem is at the moment is that even if it's enabled, you just won't be able to get in at all. So yeah, I'll probably be tweeting or letting people know as soon as that's come back online. Hopefully they'll be able to fix the security issue quite soon, and that'll be something that maybe as part of a future session I can demo out to you. But this will be a really great feature when it's released. It's going to address a long-standing issue, I think, with not being able to do your traditional SQL type reports or activities with your common data service database. Okay, I'm going to jump back to the slides now. I can see we've got a question from Summit, how to deploy reports from dev to test environments. Okay, so as part of that, Summit, you'd need to look at the new deployment pipeline capabilities. So that went out into general availability, I think as part of Ignite. It is only I believe it's only a Power BI premium feature at the moment. But what that will let you do is you'll be able to set up your various different workspaces for different environments and get a proper process set up to be able to get things deployed out from dev to test, etc. There's also going to be some DevOps support as well in the future. The only other way, if you've not got Power BI Premium, is that you would have to do it sort of semi-manually to a certain extent. So just set up separate workspaces and just manually upload your content into each appropriate environment. Okay, so to wrap up then, so for me then, in terms of some of the key takeaways of what I can see as part of this Wave 2 release, so I think the DirectQuery capabilities, as I keep sort of mentioning, it is a really important new thing. When it's out into general availability, it's going to be something I think which really does focus minds and attention on using Power BI a lot more. So if you can, it's going to give you much more enhanced capabilities compared to what you can get with charts, dashboards, and things like that. And now it's also going to be able to fix some of the long-standing pain points around, for example, not being able to have real-time data, and not being able to enforce, a good security model around the data. So if you are doing reports regularly, building out reports and things for your common data service deployment, really do take a look at the DirectQuery capability, the SQL endpoint, as it moves through out into general availability in the months ahead. As I mentioned already, the premium per user capacity license, because that's going to hopefully unlock new and better capability at a much lower price point, and more crucially, give us access to the paginated reports capability. It does, give you a potential means of being able to migrate your existing CRM reports across into Power BI. So there is some debate in the community about this. So I know, for example, that Megan Walker is still a big proponent of using CRM reports. I generally try and avoid it these days. It's just my own feeling in terms of, okay, well, try and use Power BI instead where we can. So if you are in the situation where maybe you've got a substantial amount of CRM reports, but you want to start using Power BI more seriously, then perhaps premium per user capacity is going to give you the ability to start, meeting those requirements and getting some additional capability out of your existing reports that you built. Talked about the on-premise gateway, the rename. I think the renaming is important. It really does emphasize that, it is what you need to be looking at when you are looking at, potentially complicated on-premise type integrations. Always consider and use the on-premise gateway to be able to get you there. And then finally, the Power Automate visual, so now finally we're going to be able to have a complete Power Platform solution within our Power BI report. Just saying it just gets me like, like super excited. I'm just like, this is amazing. So, I'm going to be watching that with, a lot of interest, and hopefully we'll be able to start to see some really nice solutions that we can start to build out as part of that when that's generally released. So no, there is some good things coming. As I say, it's just a shame that some of it is just on a little bit of a time lag. We couldn't go into a bit more detail today in terms of what, showing those as part of a demo. But as I say, they will be coming out soon, and you can check them out yourself. So I've got a few useful links on here, so you can view the release notes yourself. There's some stuff on there which I haven't covered today, so be sure to check that out as well. The Power BI blog is a great destination to have in your bookmarks to check things out. We've also got an official Twitter account as well. A shout out to some other content that's available as well. So if you're not already following or subscribing to the Guy in the Tube Twitter or YouTube channels, really do check that out. There's a these are people. This is content coming directly from coming directly from the product team. So regular videos, tutorials, okay, what's coming up in Power BI, really great resource. And then, within the Power Platform community itself, then really the sort of the go-to person when it comes to Power BI is Laura Graham Brown. So please do check out her blog, her Twitter. She does a lot of really great stuff. She's done some great demos using the Titanic dataset, for example. So she really is coming at it more from a Power Platform standpoint, and therefore can provide some really good insights as part of that. Okay, so before we jump to questions, then hopefully you've been tweeting and doing LinkedIn and using that hashtag earlier, because if you do, you could win one of these really great prizes. There's 3 $50 Amazon gift cards on offer, but you have to be making sure that you're tweeting, that you're getting things promoted out onto the various social networks. So make sure you do that. Make sure that you come at the end of the day to the final session. If you're not there and you are picked out of the hat, then tough, prize is going to someone else. So get sharing, get social, and hopefully win a prize. And that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Joe. That was really, really good. Very insightful. I think you did have one last question, though,
Yeah, sure.
which Azure AI features will be available for premium per user, and will some features be only reserved for premium capacity?
Good question. So I think from memory, I think it's cognitive services at the moment, which is only available via Power BI Premium. I don't think you can get that via Power BI Professional at all. I think also it will be available from the per user plan when that comes out as well. But as far as I know, it's cognitive services, but don't quote me on that.
Okay. So as Joe mentioned, there are 3 opportunities to win a prize. 2 by posting. Hopefully you have been tweeting, you have been doing your LinkedIn posts. And the other thing is, of course, by filling in the feedback for Joe's brilliant session. Hopefully, you score him 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. Because
thank you.
I totally will. So thank you so much, Joe. And what we're going to do is, let's have a look at what is next.
Okay, I'll be around. If anyone else has got any questions, though, I'll be around for the rest of the day. So yeah, just fire a question to me or reach out to me on social.
Thank you, Joe. I think that's actually it before lunch. So we've actually got 30 minutes for lunch, and we'll be back at, depending on your time zone, it'll be 6:30 if you're within the UK time zone, BST, or it will be at 1:30 if you're dialing in from Fort Lauderdale or the Caribbean. Okay, so we will see you right back here at 1:30. Guru, I've made you a presenter, so you can start setting up if you want to.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hi everyone. So we're just gonna get started quite soon. I want to just do some housekeeping. Please ensure that you are on mute, that you remain on mute. Guru, how do you want to handle questions? Do you want to handle questions throughout or at the end?
Either one is fine by me.
Either one? Okay. So feel free to post your questions in the chat window. Guru will be able to review during, or we'll be able to wash up all the questions at the end. If you haven't seen, we will be posting the feedback questionnaire in the chat window. Please feel free to complete your feedback form. Each time you submit feedback, you're entered into a draw to win a $50 Amazon gift card. And also, please feel free to post during the sessions. I'll post the hashtag each time you post. The person who post the most will also be in the opportunity to win a $50 gift voucher as well. I'm also going to be recording the session. The session will be available on the Powerthon YouTube channel right after this within a couple of days. So, Guru, I'm going to hand over to you after I press record. Let me just start recording. Oh, it was already recording. That's fine then. Okay, cool. So it is recording. Guru, I'm going to hand over to you. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you. So, yeah, today's my topic is going to be Dynamics 365 marketing. And I guess we'll just get started. As always, thanks to the sponsors, Resco, MSCRM add-ons, RSM. As Trisha said, there's some prizes at the end, giveaways. So thank you to the sponsors for contributing to that. So please share on social media and be part of the prize giving at the end. So a little bit about me. As this was such a colorful presentation, I had to do something with colors. My name is Guro Faller. I am based in Norway. I have my Twitter handle here, although I'm not a very frequent poster. I post more on LinkedIn, which you can find me by my name. So here in Norway, I work for Avanade as Dynamics 365 lead. So I work with anything that has to do with Dynamics, basically, and Power Platform. As we said, please feel free to ask questions as we go. Type them in the chat, or yeah, if you really want to, you can unmute and ask me a question. If it's pressing, or we'll just get to all of them in the end. That's probably easiest. Make sure that we're on track. And then for my agenda, we'll go through an overview of what's actually in Dynamics 365 for marketing. I will focus on the email marketing part of it. We could do another 2-hour session on the event side of this. And then primarily what's new in Wave 2 will be here. And if I'm not pissed off the demo gods already today, we'll try a live demo as well, and then Q&A. So in general, Dynamics 365 for marketing, you probably all heard about it. Some might have used it. Some might have used it more than me. But it's a new app not too many years ago. Got launched. It's gotten quite massive investment from Microsoft from launching, I'd say 2.5, 3 years ago from today. Every release is impressive. Every update brings new features that is highly sought after and making Dynamics marketing an excellent competitor to other marketing automation solutions that you would use with Dynamics and your CRM systems. Also excellent to be used for also commerce and retail situations. And it is, as it is built on Dynamics or in that same ecosystem, of course, it will bring you also excellent insights towards sales, service with that marketing insights. Dynamics marketing is built off a few components. So I'll do this kind of architecture part first, and then we'll go into some more of the functional parts. So it has the Dynamics 365 environment, as all your environments and tenants do. So that's the basic platform server. It keeps your organizational database. And then on top of that, you install the marketing app. That's the collections of the solutions, like any other solution you are installing, like customer service, sales, etc. This adds then the marketing features to your Dynamics 365 instance. And then on the other hand, we have the marketing services, which are running and executing in Azure. This actually is the motor behind all of it, so to speak, and it is what executes the customer journeys. It renders and sends the email messages, it hosts your files, and much more. So on top of that, you then get the marketing insight services, which is then resolving your segments, who should get what, collecting and storing all that interaction data. So you're not cluttering your database with clicks, views, email sends, and all that kind of stuff. And of course, then providing you with insights and analytics for how your marketing automation is doing. And if you look like slightly more under the hood on all what it's built up of, it's of course a normal marketing solution like any of the other solutions you could build. It has a sitemap, it has entities, it has forms, quite a lot of forms. It runs on workflows and plugins like any other CRM or Dynamics application. You can build in custom controls. On top of this, you could build in portals as well, and you can host your marketing pages. You can do your whole event management. It used to be voice of customer, now it's customer voice, and of course, drive your marketing email campaigns. All of this talks back and forward with the marketing services in Azure, where the automation magic happens, the sending, the rendering of the emails, like it's all executing in Azure, which is great for both your performance and storage in your database, and also then the visibility back inside Dynamics, so you can get insights in sales and customer service of clicks and views and more. So yeah, this is an overview of the feature summaries in Dynamics Marketing. So it has several parts that we build it up with. So it's the lead nurturing, so who would we target, the what and how we build it. If you do events, it's where would this take place, and how it's when should someone get something with the journey orchestration, and why, and insights and reporting, and then the unified platform in itself, like I talked a little bit about already. Of course, this is something that is extending quite frequently. It's not just the 2 waves a year. There's constant drips of releases of features, and we can see quite extensive changes from the first version until now. And that's also some of what I'll go through today, is how it used to be and then what it's now. And then it's all this combined makes Dynamics Marketing a great tool for marketing automation, and it really stands up against other known solutions in the area. Like you have click dimensions. Of course, if you want to, you do Marketo. You could do a full Adobe installment. And soon I'd say that marketing is kind of almost head-to-head, or it has a little way to go, but it's getting really close to competing with Marketo and Adobe eventually, even though there is like a strategic collaboration between Adobe and Microsoft. So I won't divulge into all my theories about what's going to come and what's going to happen with marketing, but at least I see it as a bright future for this solution and product, and I hope that a lot more people start using it, start suggesting features, as that's part of how things are newly developed. There's, as all products, you can suggest features you want or need, and they will be taken into account and be implemented by the product team, and suddenly you'll have it in the product. Some of what we've seen in this October Wave 2 is community suggestions. So let's get started with seeing how some of this actually looks. A lot of what you would do inside Dynamics Marketing is based around your customer journeys. How do you want your messaging to come across with your customers? If it's members, it might be contacts in an account. You could do account-based marketing. You can, of course, set up your data model, so you can do lead-based marketing as well. Just everything has to originate around a customer journey that sets aside who should it start with, what activities are we going to do, and how to nurture this customer experience. You can, of course, also include customer voice, and that's formerly known as Forms Pro. And like anything else, you can embed it into a customer journey. It can be triggered and sent out in its own standalone email, and then do further automation based on that. So what you start and build up your customer journeys with, like we see, it's different tiles, it's different attributes of what you could be doing, and elements you can build on from within Dynamics Marketing. So we have what's called they're called tiles, more or less. So you can build on different channels. You can, if you want, bring your own SMS channel into this, or it's typically the standard channels would be a marketing email or a marketing page that you could have and build content on. And that brings us over to the layout editor within marketing. So this is kind of similar layout editor. It's a Visivig editor, so you can build it around templates. And you start building your email and pulling in the elements you want. You could do it in full HTML, CSS coding if you want, for that really advanced responsive emails. You could play on everything you have inside your CDS, so more or less everything. The more you do in advancedness, of course, it will render and be displayed to the contact or the receiver inside of Azure, but it will bring up like first name, last name, all that standard stuff. But you can also play on like my member number, membership details, etc. And one of my personal favorites, but of course doing emails, is that you have to do some smart layout design thinking. It's not just putting text and sending it. You have to think about the pictures you use. You have to think about the text and the colors. We've all seen an ugly marketing email being sent. We've all seen some beautiful ones. And it's about finding that what works for your brand and also for the content that you're sending. Even though this is not a very beautiful template, but at least it's showing how you could utilize GIFs to make that content you're sending a bit stronger. This could have been something animated for whatever you have, making GIFs for what you would be selling or your customers would be selling. It's an easy step to get powerful content within your marketing emails. Inside of marketing, you can also design and make marketing pages and also marketing forms. So a marketing page would be either an Azure hosted page that would be a one-off. It can be embedded in your portals, or you can even embed it directly into your own EPI server or any CMS system you have to utilize the content that you're building from within marketing. It's the same type of editor. It's a Visivig editor. And if you're onto the advanced side of things, you can also insert a lot of tracking, client-side responsive elements based on, let's say, purchase history or other elements that you could bring in from your CDS. Very typical how one of these marketing pages look. Like primarily everything that you see from Microsoft looks like it's made inside marketing. So that's why this is like a perfect example. It's that standard header. You can make it look however you want, of course. Some information of what you would be receiving, and then your marketing form of what you need to give away as a lead here to be able to take part of this lead nurturing campaign. Like any marketing automation tool or email marketing system, we kind of have some expectations of what should be in it of functionality. One of those is A/B testing, which marketing did not have in its first and second waves of launching, but now it's getting improved over the last 1.5 years. You can do A/B testing on one A and several Bs, and you can do it on a few different elements. So you can do email A/B testing on the email subject, the from name, or also the email body itself. So like any other place, not like you typically do with A/B testing, you set up the different versions you want. If it's the subject that you're changing, you simply make that alterations. Maybe you have one that's plain text, maybe you have one with responsive or customized header, like hello first name, on the boring side maybe, but it might be very suitable for the campaign you're running. Maybe you'll try some with emojis. If it's sales or summer, some sunshine or palm trees in there, to really get that email looking a bit more alive in the inbox. And as typical, you'll get a winner when it comes to A/B testing. Here you see that, of course, A has won with 100% open rate. This is a very, might be a poor example. Maybe 80% would be a more accurate one for a real life example. And you can set this up to be like a time window, this decision engine, and then that's the one message that's being used for the audience for the rest of the duration for the customer journey. Another great feature is the spam score checker, and you also have an accessibility checker. So if you're using alternative texts, these kind of things in your email, it's of course helpful. It makes your email marketing being able to reach a broader audience, especially the spam checker. Make sure that you're not, when you're designing it, that you know your email is probably not gonna end up in someone's spam filter. That's definitely not where we want to reach with our email messaging. So it's being on the low end side of this is where we want to be. And you'll also get some input on why you would be in the medium or high risk areas here. For example, if you're hosting things in Azure or you're pulling links for the images you're putting into your marketing email, maybe you're just pulling them straight off of Google, and the links you're pasting in for hosting the images, they are super long, super ugly, and it just looks like a phishing link, then your score will go straight up and you're probably ending up in the spam filter. So just making sure that the elements you're using, that your HTML is not too big, all these kind of things is making your email more accessible and sailing smoother through those email servers out there. Something that's on the AI side of Dynamics marketing, it's the Smart Scheduler, which is a feature you can enable to help you send your marketing emails at the right time. So not everyone checks their email at the same time. And sometimes hitting someone in the mailbox and going to the top of the list of new and unread emails is where you want to be. It might not be something you want to use for all of your emails, so you can select when you want to use it. And you can also select for an email to have an expiration date, so you're not sending an offer that ends on a Saturday on a Sunday, even though Sunday would be when I would optimally read my emails from you. So the Smart Scheduler will have just sit and wait until the perfect time or the most optimal time for sending, and then delivering the email to you when you're most likely to read it. And it's, it provides more optimal higher engagement rates. And then you want people to both read your emails, click through them, and act on the other end of the content you have there. So this is the way forward for sending emails. And then it's if you have a large audience and someone is in different time zones, like we are here today, we're spread across the globe, sending it out at 2 p.m. Local time might be a super awkward time for receiving that marketing email in a different time zone. So that's also taken into account here when you do a smart scheduler. Quite different from if you've not used marketing, but maybe you've used the legacy campaigns, and how, of course, it's similar to you working with advanced find, but the segmentation possibilities within marketing is just improving and improving, not just because how and what you can segment on, but how you can now use something like unifications, exclusion segments, and you can build on segments from different type of actions. Like, of course, you can do segmentations based on firmography, demography, and all these kind of standard segments. And there's a lot of segment templates within Dynamics that you can use. But of course, you have all the interactions from your email marketing campaigns, your events. Maybe you have some segments from customer insights. Maybe you have segments that you have list imports. And these you can build and use together in marketing. And you can also use subscription lists and have all of these combined into segments that work for you. So especially powerful is the both compound segments where you combine two or more segments, but you can also do exclusions and intersects. So this really, and also the visualization you can get, kind of also showcases what actually happens with your segment when you actually are using them, seeing if it fits. Sometimes you have to be careful about how big your segment is. You might have some cost associated with targeting a large audience. You might not want to reach more than 1,000 people for this exact campaign, and all these kind of insights quite crucial to bring along for big campaigns. And then it's a marketing calendar. It's probably not looking revolutionary, but you get a good overview of what's happening within your marketing team, what campaigns are running, what are being actively targeted. You can also have this similar kind of view for social media posting, which I'll come to later. So this is, even if it's a few items here, in this view, you can have long, month-long running campaigns or customer journeys, but you can also have one-offs running on different intervals. So this works and gives you good insights when you are planning major campaigns. Key features or very out of the box and always on reporting is available in marketing. You can see insights combined then from the Azure services of things, the marketing services in Azure. So this is an example from a marketing email. And then you see the different contacts who are both receiving, opening, clicking on these emails. You can see also reporting from a marketing page. You can get all these different insights in very easy to read, understandable graphs within Microsoft Dynamics. And you can see also similar on contact and lead cards with what's been sent, what's been open, etc. So you can see and collaborate across marketing and sales quite easily without actually doing any further implementation and starting using marketing. In addition, there comes quite a big extensive content package for using Power BI that you can start utilizing. With this, you can also extend and modify it to your own needs. So this is a great way to start if you need some more advanced reporting than what you get out of the box or inside of marketing in its interface. And in addition, you can also build and extend your reporting needs by connecting with an Azure Blob Storage and running advanced analytics on that. And then over to like the other side, not exactly out of the box side of marketing. So based on how this is built, how it's installed, how it's running, it's like rest of the Dynamics products. It's an extendable solution. So you can here, like you do anywhere else, you can extend the CDS, you can make fields, you can make entities, and you can make all those work together. But you can also extend in Azure services what you have running on top, like you can build your custom tiles, like I talked about already. You can have the different tiles or actions that you have within the customer journey. Here you can also make your own tiles. Many here develop their own SMS providers or SMS channels. If you have an existing SMS gateway, of course, you can develop and extend to use what you have already. Another way of extending, of course, you can build these content tiles to be whatever you want, really, to be triggered within a customer journey. But in addition, you can also launch workflows and soon, hopefully, also flows from within a customer journey. And then you can trigger anything you like, really, and extend the solution in that way. And that's probably the way that would require the least amount of development as well. And then, of course, there's a lot of app source products out there already. So you don't have to develop your own SMS tile. You can just install and use what's out there already. These are just two that I know that work pretty well. And there's probably many more. Yeah. Is there any questions so far? I can have a look in the chat. If not, we'll cover some best practices. And then, of course, there's a lot of best practices when it comes to marketing automation and email marketing. I'll not cover all of that. That would take quite some time. And of course, it all varies on what kind of industry you're dealing with, what kind of customer segments you're dealing with. But we'll go through a few of them anyway. So like first off, straight off the bat, don't buy marketing lists. They might have crap quality. They might not be good at all. The emails and the contacts you're given or receiving might not be anyone that's interested in what you have to offer. It might be a lot of non-existing emails, which will then provide some hard bounces, and this will again impact your IP reputation. And that's not something you want. You want to be able to send marketing emails out. You have to work on your design layout. It takes a few trials and you'll get going. And without needing to go into developing templates with a developer, you can do a lot of great and beautiful things with just the Visivig editor. And you'll get going in just a few hours by trial and error. You can do some test sends and send to yourself, send to your spouse or whoever that want to receive a test email, and you get some feedback. And be creative in your email content. Like I've shown you already, you can utilize GIFs or GIFs, or how you want to pronounce them. Use some colors, don't use colors, but be true to your brand, true to the image that you're representing when you are sending out emails. Don't include socks if you're only selling tractors. I don't know. It's kind of stay on brand. It's important. Keep your contacts up to date. I'll talk a little bit more about the bounce emails and things like that. And then also, like I said already, keep an eye on the spam scores. Be mindful of them. You don't want to be hitting too much spam filters out there. It will impact your IP reputation, which is something the larger email server and providers, they do actually care about. And the higher or worse IP reputation you have, the higher likelihood that you'll end up somewhere being either semi or permanently banned on some email servers or automatically sent to the spam folders. Is not where we want to be with the email marketing. Make sure that you are putting alternative text to images, adding a text version of your marketing email, then you're accessible to all. And if someone needs to use voice to text to voice to understand what you're sending, it's better to have something than just image and a text and there's no context. Yes. Authenticate your domain. It's probably one of the first steps you would be going through when you're setting up your environment, but it's important to have done properly. It will impact also how you're sending things and the IP ranges you will be sending from within marketing. So it's crucial to have your emails look and feel on the receiving end as well. And then, of course, if you're setting up a new instance and spinning up marketing, don't send 4 million emails the first day. You're going to get banned and you'll probably not be able to use that account anymore. So warm up by increasing the volumes in emails sent. Start by building segments for certain sizes and increase if needed. Don't try to hit all your customers at once. Not all of them would be relevant for that content anyway. So use segments and be smart about the marketing emails that you're sending and how you're using emails as a channel. And then a little bit on the bounds of emails. Of course, having the insights in marketing, it looks nicest when there's a few elements in the graphs, but that's not why we receive bounced emails, to make the graphs look pretty. But why is it important? It's to make sure that your IP reputation stays good and that you are able to send emails and that you're not harming both your brand and also but how deliverables are on your emails. There's several bounce categories, so it's like hard bounces, soft bounces, but there's probably 10 more categories. So that's important to read up on and see how you need to do contact list maintenance. If you see you always have a certain amount of bounces, go in and fix them. Maybe you should set up some scheduled tasks to someone to update the contacts, have someone call them and say that we don't have your newest email, provide that to us, and you might get better reach and better marketing, but also better customer relations after that. There's a few built-in guardrails. So even though you get, of course, some hard bounces, everyone has some hard bounces. Someone might have put in a fake email on a lead gen form just to get that white paper. That's fine. But but let's remove them after a while. They don't need to be in your contact database, and you don't want them to be your marketable contacts. But there's a 6-month quarantine time for known hard bounces. They will still be visible as hard bounces in your graphs and reporting, but they're not actually being sent every time. So marketing puts them in a quarantine and then just disregards them. So it's kind of a virtual hard bounce. They're not actually going through the mail servers and going back. So that's something that has been built in and is quite useful, but it doesn't help you in the long run. You still need to maintain that contact database. And then let's talk about some news. And I'll see if there's any questions. Pretty silent so far. But yeah, what's new? There's a good little list of what's coming or already in public preview. Some things have already been added to general availability. Some things we just don't know what's coming. But let's go through them one by one. So there's more improvements coming to the segmentations, which is of course great. We all like to segment well, and the better we can segment, the more direct and precise we can be in the messaging that we're doing. But it also helps keeping both the cost side down inside marketing, but also in general when it comes to marketing costs. In-place editing, if you've used the customer journeys and you're putting in the emails you want to associate with it, and then you realized, oh, I have to change these few things before I make this customer journey live and we can execute it. Previously, you would have to go and navigate away from the customer journey into an email, marketing page or form or segment before you can then go back and navigate. So it's a lot of clicking back and forth. This will now be eliminated, and you can do more effective customer journey orchestrations within the customer journeys, which is a great yay. Time saver, always good. And of course, you can create emails faster, same picture, but it's still efficient. You can do more within the email layout designer than you could before with just WYSIWYG components. You can, it's a lot of features that coming around how you make things look visually good without having a UX designer needing to do some coding on top, which is a nice improvement. So create a trial, see how you want to have your marketing emails look, and this could be most of what's coming here is targeted towards what should I say, how Outlook receives and renders emails. A lot of people still use Outlooks, especially if you're doing account-based marketing. Being able to have something rendered nicely in Outlook is a big plus. Like having background images and all these kind of things that's nifty and nice in the email layout, you can now also get in Outlook. Social media posting. There's coming a huge revamp of this. This is how it used to look. The standard, like the black on white, dreary UX. This is how it's going to look, or it's in early availability already. And it's a lot more pleasing to the eye, to say at least, but it also gives you better overview and more rich content you can build for your different social media channels. And you can also add Twitter as a channel, which you could not before, and also optimize when your post would be scheduled. Of course, you could do that before, but it's being redesigned and optimized for a better social media engagement. This is how the social calendar for scheduled posts looks like. So of course you can post something directly there and then, but you can also plan when it should be launched in the future according to your customer journeys. So you can have posting your landing pages and other things into social media to play alongside the customer journeys. And then let's see, of course, time is flying by. So I'll skip, not very fast through this, but of course, this is how the customer journeys used to look like. This is now how they look. It's being a little different way to work with things. If you used and made anything in Visio, this is familiar for you. But then again, it's just a different UI. The same components are there. You get a little bit more insights and some more intuitive ways of working. Yeah, but it's still the same awesome customer journey designer. A big news that came was, of course, the Teams integration for the events part. I've not covered much of events so far. This is probably the only thing I'll say about events. But of course, with Teams Live, like we're using now, having that interpreted or incorporated within your marketing automation, scheduling, and bringing all your events together, landing pages, web forms, all of this, and then Teams Live, perfect combo. And this is a great way forward for marketing. Yeah. So in your marketing designer, then you could just add the event and the Teams link, and then you would have that all in one place. You can, of course, then I forgot I had more slides on Teams and events, but of course you get the registrations, and of course you can build that into a customer journey, following up those that were registered but not attended, registered and attended, sending out surveys in posts, and all these things. Good. Lead and contact update. You used to have to always connect what you had to against a lead or a contact in order to get like form inputs or these kinds of things. Now you don't have to, but there's a few downsides as well by not connecting it to a lead or a contact, as then it's not as interactive with the rest of the enabled features. So it's just limiting utilizing contacts and leads, and then doing like lead scoring of existing customers. But yeah, see how that works for your way of working with leads and contacts. Some don't want to have connected leads and contacts, some don't want to update existing ones. And yeah. And then you can have multi-data source segments, so you can get in the segments you have from customer insights. You can use them directly in marketing. You get instant updates, and then you can see the segmentation logic that's been built in customer insights, and also make static copies of those segments, so you don't need to use the continuously updated ones from customer insights, but you can use static lists as well. Then I guess, am I over time, Trish, or am I okay?
You're actually okay so far, yeah. I think you've got 15 more minutes.
Good. So a few other important news. I'll not dwell too much on this as it's not directly intertwined in marketing, but we all love customer insights, which has a few awesome news, and the roadmap has been laid out until March, and it's check out the release guide for more information. I will not dwell too much on customer insights, except no, I'll stay on audience insights. This is definitely where we'll see some great potentials when it comes for building new segments and really orchestrating the customer journey from different channels, different interactions, and building segments on top of this and utilizing in marketing. It's going to be really powerful. We're seeing some trends towards full orchestration possibilities within marketing when you combine these two. So that's really exciting. Engagement insights is just renaming of the insights you get on your customer profile. Customer voice. This is, like I said before, Forms Pro in a new little wrapper with some new features and brought into the Dynamics family more officially, or official it is. And there's a lot you can do with combining customer voice and marketing, nurturing across different types of interactions. Maybe you spin off a customer journey based on a customer voice survey for a service phone call, or maybe a sales interaction. And yeah, it's a lot of possibilities, which makes the duo really powerful. It's totally different. Digital Marketing Center, brand new product from Microsoft. I'm guessing something like this would soon end up in Dynamics Marketing, or at least I hope so. From a selfish perspective, we need more of this type of insights and orchestration for all of our social media channels when we are doing orchestration, as then we could do better, better segments, better actions, and knowing who to target and how. There's quite a few different things you could do within the Digital Marketing Center. As I said, it's brand new, so I've not looked very much into this, but it has both the social and the ads, so you can see like your ad spend over time. Of course, there's coming some other export functionality within Customer Insights to Facebook Audience Manager. So soon we'll probably see like a full closed loop here, which I would be really excited about. So then I'm gonna try to do some live demo with some clicking around, unless this is really not liking me today. So this is how Dynamics Marketing looks like. It's kind of similar to any other things you have in Dynamics. Let's zoom in a little. It has some dashboards like any other Dynamics instance, and it comes with a lot of pre-made dashboards. This tenant is super slow, and I don't think it likes me. So we'll try and see how this works for the last couple of minutes. But yeah, you have dashboards on your customer journeys. You can have dashboards on your email marketing. You can have dashboards on your lead generations if you do marketing pages with marketing forms, etc. And different, you can build your own as well, playing on the marketing activities. The menu is a long menu, as it's built up with a lot of different components, but like segments, it's a crucial part of your marketing. So this is where you would build up who to target and why, basically. So this, I'm not allowed to edit anything in this demo as it's a static demo, but let's see. As it's a static segment, it's not super exciting, and I can't, for some reason. Oh, maybe I can edit and see what happens. No, this is not very fun today in this environment. Let's see one of the customer journeys that's more exciting. I had some problems with my tenant, so I'm using a CDX tenant, and of course that comes with its disadvantages. But yeah, here you can see the new customer journey being used. It has a start point, which is loading, but you can see it has a marketing page, which is then a lead generation form, and then it's based on what happens on that form. It either creates a lead or it sends another email with more information. And this button. You can, terrible zooming, and so slow, but you see you can have a lot of ifs and thens, and you could make it a tree structure that branches out in different areas. And this is not very helpful when it's lagging. Let's jump to a email marketing message. And this is why you should always praise the demo gods and do some voodoo or something to keep them happy. It always helps. Yes, the demo gods. It's a lot more fun to do demos when they actually work. I wanted to see the designer, but so the insights, this is probably the most boring insights anyway. But we can see that there's been, this has not been sent out, but there's some deliverables, there's some unique opens or all opens. You could see the unique clicks, hard bounces, like I talked probably too much about, soft bounces, unopened emails, forwards or unsubscribers that, of course, when you send email marketing out with marketing, you have to include your links to the subscription center. And of course, it's built to be compliant with GDPR rules, especially the strict ones we have here in Europe. And you can do double opt-in if you have those requirements, especially Germany does. Or your brand just have those guidelines and you need to use double opt-in. It's all a part of marketing. It's a part of the setups you make, you do when you're creating your instance or modify later on. Even though then the demo gods are not with me today, I think I'll go over to the next just slide and start my little wrap up. And before I mention that there's prices, because there is prices, there's a lot of possibilities within Microsoft Dynamics Marketing. That's of course the old version that's no longer available, but Dynamics 365 Marketing is an extendable product. You can do a lot with it. More and more features are coming. It's becoming a very strong competitor to known other options out there. Of course, if you want to do the comparisons, there's a lot of blogs out there, really good ones. Amy Holden has an excellent one where she's looking at both click dimensions, marketing, Adobe, and Marketo, and seeing how all of these do compare in different situations and different topics. So that's well worth a read. There's a series of 6 blogs if you're interested, and there's always someone that has a lot of needs, and then it's Dynamics is probably that correct choice, as it's probably mentioned many times, extendable product, a lot of great features, and you can make it work for single brand, multi-brand. You've seen this implemented with customers that has 6-7 different brands that they do marketing for. It's just about the content that you're using, the settings that you're using, and the way you're building up your customer journeys. And you can send out unique emails per brand from one marketing instance, which makes this super for even SMBs and to enterprise customers. And with that, let's see if there's, I guess I have a few minutes left, but let's see if there's any questions. I have been looking in the chat, but I don't think there's anything so far. No. Not there. Do you want me to end there, Trish, or keep rambling? Yeah, fill in the survey for this session. Post a little bit on social media to win some prizes. And thank you for participating on my presentation and being a part of today. And with that, say thank you.
Why am I on mute still? Thank you so much, Guru, for that. To be honest, that's one of the areas I totally don't know much about. So it was really, really informative for me. I keep meaning to actually play around with it. So I'm going to definitely rewatch this session. So for anyone who does need to rewatch it, it will be available on the YouTube Powerthon channel. So please rewatch it. And Guru, thank you so much for that. As mentioned, we are giving away gift cards. So I hope you've been tweeting and putting it on LinkedIn. And also, please don't forget to fill in your feedback forms. I'll post a link to the feedback forms right now.
And just one final thing, so I don't forget it. It's super easy to set up a trial and start playing around with marketing. If you just want to look at the customer journeys, or if you want to look at the email template, super easy to set it up and get started.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to move right into Baris Hanlika, who's going to basically provide an overview of Power Platform Demystified. So thank you so much, Guru, and welcome, Baris. Baris, I've made your presenter.
No, hello, can you hear me?
Yes. There's a loud noise. Okay, great. It's gone, but you've also muted.
So it comes from me? No, I think no. That's okay now.